Closing arguments have started in the murder trial of Nima Momeni, the man accused of murdering Cash App founder Bob Lee.
Now, live from the Bay Area's local news station, this is KRON 4 News at 6.
Good evening, and thanks so much for joining us on KRON 4 News at 6. I'm Vicki Liviakis.
I'm Grant Lotus. Our top story tonight, closing arguments started today in the murder trial of Nima Momeni. He is the man accused of murdering Cash App founder Bob Lee in April.
Our KRON 4's Rob Nesbitt was in court today, and he brings us details.
A video was played in court Monday during closing arguments showing Bob Lee's last moment alive, showing him collapsing into a pool of his own blood. It was then that his youngest child left the courtroom in tears, visibly upset. Family members of both the accused, Nima Momeni, and victim Bob Lee entered the courtroom Monday for the start of closing arguments. The prosecution started things off by playing a 911 recording of Lee's last moments alive, which proved too much for his two teenage children. Lee's brother, Timothy Oliver Lee, explained why they left the courtroom visibly upset.
It's obviously affected their lives so severely, right? And so they lost their rock, right? And Bob was always there for them. And it's part of the pain of what Nima made up in this.
While the prosecution presented the beginning of their closing arguments of why they think Momeni stabbed Lee to death, San Francisco District Attorney Brooke Jenkins also sat in court for about an hour during closing arguments.
The DA came right at the beginning of this case and informed us that this is going to have the highest priority. Mead is the head of a homicide, right? And Dane has years of experience, and it was great to see them working together. But it's good to see the city of San Francisco wanting justice for Bob.
The prosecution spent Monday talking about motive and the significance of Momeni's sister Kazar, who was one of the last people to see both men together, arguing that Momeni was upset because Lee introduced a drug dealer to Kazar, and that moments before Lee's stabbing, the dealer drugged Kazar and sexually assaulted her. Text messages from Kazar to her brother also came up in court today. Those messages saying things like, quote, "You act like a lunatic, you scare me, you're an animal 24/7. The defense during this trial has argued self-defense, spending much of their time talking about Lee's drug and alcohol use. The victim's brother says there's no way self-defense was a factor here, and that Momeni had to be the one to attack Lee with a knife.
It is not that complicated of a case, right? There's DNA on the handle of the knife that is not Bob's. And to suggest that he was in the fight for his life and he was sweaty, if you knew Bob was sweaty. And so, to thrust it into his own chest, and that is it's just beyond reality.
The prosecution argues that Momeni was aware of his own guilt because of his actions following the murder, saying he threw the knife away, that he never called 911, that he fled the scene, never emailing or texting anyone. Tuesday, it will be the defense's turn. Their closing arguments will start at 9:30 a.m. Reporting in San Francisco, I'm Rob Nesbitt, KRON 4 News.